Section 26 of Perfumes and Their Preparation. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Perfumes and Their Preparation by George William Askinson. Preparations for the Care of the Mouth. Besides the red lips and the gums, the teeth in particular ornament the mouth. Unfortunately, there are but few persons who can boast of a perfectly healthy set of teeth, which is found as a normal condition only among savages and animals. The chief causes of the admitted fact that most persons have some defect in the mouth, bad teeth, pale gums, offensive odour, lie in part in our civilization with the ingestion of hot and sometimes sour food, in part in the lack of attention bestowed on the care of the mouth by many people. The care of the mouth is most important after meals and in the morning. Particles of food lodge even between the most perfect teeth and undergo rapid decomposition in the high temperature prevailing in the mouth. This gives rise to a most disagreeable odour, and the decomposition quickly extends to the teeth. Perfectly normal, healthy teeth consist of a hard, brilliant external coat, the enamel, which opposes great resistance to acid and decomposing substances. But unfortunately, the enamel is very sensitive to changes of temperature and easily cracks, thus admitting to the bony part of the teeth such deleterious substances and leading to their destruction. The bulk of the tooth consists of a porous mass of bone, which is easily destroyed, and thus the entire set may be lost. Hygienic perfumery is able to offer to the public means by which a healthy set of teeth can be kept in good condition and the disease arrested in affected teeth, and by which an agreeable freshness is imparted to the gums and lips. While true perfumes may be looked upon as more or less of a luxury, the hygiene of the mouth is a necessity, for we have to deal with the health and preservation of the important masticatory apparatus which is necessary to the welfare of the whole body, so that the aesthetic factor occupies a secondary position, or rather results as a necessary consequence from a proper care of the mouth. With no other hygienic article have so many sins been committed as with those intended for the teeth. We have had occasion to examine a number of tooth powders, some of them very high priced, which were decidedly injurious. Thus we have known of cases in which powdered pumice stone, coloured and perfumed, has been sold as a tooth powder. Pumice stone, however, resembles glass in its composition, and acts on the teeth like a fine file, which rapidly wears away the enamel and exposes the frail bony substance. It needs no further explanation to prove the destructive effects of such a powder on the teeth. Many persons prize finely powdered wood charcoal as a tooth powder, and to some extent they are right. Wood charcoal always contains alkalies, which neutralize the injurious acid, besides traces of products of dry distillation which prevent decomposition. But these valuable properties are counteracted by the fact that charcoal is always more or less gritty, or being insoluble, will lodge between the teeth and form the nucleus for the lodgment of other substances. In compounding articles for the mouth and teeth, tooth powders and mouthwashes, the objects aimed at are to neutralize the chemical processes that injure the teeth and gums, and to restore freshness and resisting power to the relaxed gums and mucous membranes. Remnants of food left in the mouth after meals soon develop acids which attack the teeth. They are neutralized by basic substances or alkalis which counteract them. The formation of organic acids from food remnants is caused by microscopic fungi, schizomycetes, which adhere to the teeth, so-called tartar, in the absence of cleanliness, Against these parasites there are at our disposal a number of substances which kill them rapidly, and thus for a time arrest the process of decomposition. They are therefore called antiseptics. Another group of ingredients acts especially on such abnormal conditions of the membranous and fleshy parts of the mouth as manifest themselves by colourless, easily bleeding gums. It is mainly compounds of the tannin group which strengthen the gums and are known as astringents. In compounding articles for the teeth, it has thus far, unfortunately, not been customary to combine several of the substances having the above properties, the general rule being to incorporate only one in the composition, and some so-called tooth lotions consist even of aromatics alone. Such particles perfume the mouth, but have no hygienic effect upon it. Among the essential oils, however, there is one which should form a part of every article intended for the care of the mouth, provided it can remain unchanged in the presence of the other ingredients, which would not be the case where permanganate of potassium is used. Oil of peppermint and other mint oils exert a very refreshing influence on the mucous membranes of the mouth, in which they leave a sensation of freshness lasting for some time. We give below a number of formulas for the manufacture of articles for the care of the mouth, as to the value of which the reader can form his own opinion from what has been stated. Finally, it may be observed that several of the so-called secret preparations for the care of the mouth are arrant humbugs, worthless substances being sold at exorbitant prices, and, worse yet, lacking the vaunted hygienic effect owing to their chemical composition. The articles for the care of the mouth and teeth may be divided into toothpastes, tooth powders, tooth tinctures or lotions, and mouthwashes. A. Toothpastes. Tooth soap, savon dentifrice. Soap, 2 pounds. Talcum, 2 pounds. Orris root, 2 pounds. Sugar, 1 pound. Water, 1 pound. Oil of clove, 150 grains. Oil of peppermint, 3/4 of an ounce. The soap should be good, well-boiled tallow soap. It is mixed with the other ingredients. The sugar is to be previously dissolved in the water, by thorough and prolonged stirring, and is usually sold in shallow porcelain boxes. The talcum or French chalk is a soft mineral with a fatty feel, and is a common commercial article. This tooth soap and other similar preparations for the care of the mouth are frequently coloured rose red. Of course, only harmless colours can be used. The most appropriate are rose madeleine and carmine. Toothpaste, pâte dentifrice. Prepared chalk, 2 pounds. Orris root, 2 pounds. Sugar, 2 pounds. Water, 1 pound. Madeleine, 3/4 to 1½ ounces. Oil of lavender, 150 grains. Oil of mace, 150 grains. Oil of clove, 150 grains. Oil of peppermint, 1 ounce. Oil of rose, 150 grains. The prepared chalk used in this and many other articles is pure precipitated carbonate of lime. It is made from pieces of white marble, the offal from sculptors' workshops, which are placed in wide porcelain or glass vessels and covered with hydrochloric acid, when abundant vapours of carbonic acid are given off. When the development of carbonic acid has ceased, the liquid is allowed to stand at rest for several days with an excess of marble, whereby all the iron oxide is separated. This is necessary, otherwise the preparation would not be white, but yellowish. The liquid is filtered and treated with a solution of carbonate of soda, sal soda, in water as long as any white precipitate results. This precipitate is washed with pure water on a filter, and when slowly dried it forms a fine, brilliant white powder. Crystalline calcium chloride may also be purchased dissolved in water and treated with the soda solution to obtain the white precipitate. The quantity of madder-lake in the above formula is given within the limits to form light or dark red toothpaste. B. Tooth powders. Quinine tooth powder. Prepared chalk 2 pounds, starch flour 1 pound, orris root powdered 1 pound, sulphate of quinine 3/4 of an ounce, oil of peppermint 150 grains. Cinchona bark tooth powder. Cinchona bark powdered 1 pound, prepared chalk 2 pounds, myrrh powdered 1 pound, orris root powdered 2 pounds, cinnamon powdered 1 pound, carbonate of ammonia 2 pounds, oil of clove 3/4 of an ounce. Borated tooth powder. Borax powdered 1 pound, prepared chalk 2 pounds, myrrh powdered ½ a pound, orris root powdered ½ a pound, cinnamon powdered ½ a pound. Homeopathic chalk tooth powder. Prepared chalk 4 pounds, starch flour 5½ ounces, orris root powdered ½ a pound, oil of cinnamon 1 ounce. Camphorated chalk tooth powder. Prepared chalk 4 pounds, camphor 1 pound, orris root powdered 2 pounds, cinnamon powdered ½ a pound. Charcoal tooth powder. Charcoal powdered 4 pounds, cinchona bark powdered 1 pound, oil of bergamot ½ an ounce, oil of lemon 1 ounce. The charcoal must be derived from some soft wood. Willow, poplar, or buckthorn are among the most appropriate. Cuttlefish bone tooth powder. Prepared chalk 4 pounds, cuttlefish bone powdered 2 pounds, orris root powdered 2 pounds, oil of bergamot 3/4 of an ounce, oil of lemon 1½ ounces, oil of neroli 150 grains, oil of orange 3/4 of an ounce. Cashew aromatise. Cashews are of a pillular composition and used not so much for the teeth as to impart fragrance to the breath. They are made as follows: gum acacia 1½ ounces, catechu powdered 2 3/4 ounces, licorice juice 1 1/4 pounds, cascarilla powdered 3/4 of an ounce, mastic powdered 3/4 of an ounce, orris root powdered 3/4 of an ounce, oil of clove 75 grains, oil of peppermint ½ an ounce, tincture of ambergris 75 grains, tincture of musk 75 grains. Boil the solids with water until a pasty mass results, which becomes firm on cooling. The aromatics are then added, and the mass is rolled into pills which are covered with genuine silver foil. One of these pills suffices to remove the odor of tobacco, etc., completely from the mouth. Pastille orientale. Sugar 8 pounds, carmine 75 grains, gum acacia 2 pounds, musk 15 grains, oil of rose 75 grains, oil of vetiver 15 grains, civet 15 grains, tartaric acid 150 grains. Add the essential oils to the powdered solids, mix intimately, and add enough water to form a stiff dough, to be made into pills which, when chewed, remove the odor of tobacco or other unpleasant odors. Rose tooth powder. Prepared chalk 4 pounds, orris root powdered 2 pounds, madder-lake 1 3/4 to 2 1/2 ounces, oil of rose ½ an ounce, oil of santal 150 grains. Sugar tooth powder. Bone ash 4 pounds, orris root powdered 4 pounds, sugar, powdered 2 pounds, oil of bergamot 3/4 ounce, oil of citron ½ ounce, oil of mace 75 grains, oil of neroli 75 grains, oil of orange 150 grains, oil of rosemary 3/4 ounce. Chinese tooth powder. Pumice stone 4 pounds, starch flour 1 pound, madder 1 3/4 ounces, oil of peppermint 3/4 ounce. The pumice stone must be ground into the finest powder and levigated before being mixed with the other ingredients. Note our remarks on pumice stone on page 258. C. Tooth tinctures, lotions, and mouthwashes, essence dentifrice. O. Anatherine, guaiac wood 3½ ounces, myrrh 8 ounces, cloves 5½ ounces, santal wood 5½ ounces, cinnamon 1 3/4 ounces, alcohol 4 quarts, rosewater 2 quarts, oil of mace 75 grains, oil of rose 75 grains, oil of cinnamon 75 grains. The solids are macerated in the alcohol, the essential oils are dissolved in the filtered liquid, and lastly the rosewater is added. Eau de Botton. This tooth tincture, which is quite a favourite, is made in different ways. The compositions made according to the French and English formulas are considered the best. For this and many other tooth tinctures, rhatany root is also frequently used. Rhatany root is derived from Crameria triandra, a South American plant. Its alcoholic tincture has a red colour. A. French formula. Anise 10 ounces, cochineal 3/4 ounce, mace 150 grains, cloves 150 grains, cinnamon 2 3/4 ounces, alcohol 3 quarts, oil of peppermint 3/4 ounce. B. English formula. Tincture of cedar 4 quarts, tincture of myrrh 1 quart, tincture of rhatany 1 quart, oil of lavender 3/4 ounce, oil of peppermint 1 ounce, oil of rose 150 grains. Borated tooth tincture. Borax 5½ ounces, myrrh 5½ ounces, red santal wood 5½ ounces, sugar 5½ ounces, cologne water 1 quart, alcohol 3 quarts, water 3 pints. Macerate the myrrh and santal wood in the alcohol, then add the cologne water, and lastly the sugar and borax dissolved in the water. Camphorated cologne water. Camphor 1 pound, cologne water 4 quarts. Cologne water with myrrh is made in the same way, by substituting a like weight of myrrh for the camphor. Eau de Milan. Kino 3½ ounces, civet 75 grains, cinnamon 3/4 ounce, alcohol 5 quarts, oil of bergamot 150 grains, oil of lemon 150 grains, oil of peppermint 3/4 ounce. Kino contains an astringent, a variety of tannin, and forms a dark red solution with alcohol. Eau de Miala. Tincture of benzoin 3/4 ounce, tincture of tolu 3/4 ounce, tincture of vanilla 150 grains, kino 5½ ounces, alcohol 5 quarts, oil of anise 75 grains, oil of peppermint 3/4 ounce, oil of star anise 75 grains, oil of cinnamon 150 grains. Myrrh tooth tincture. Mace 1 3/4 ounces, myrrh 8 ounces, cloves 8 ounces, rhatany root 8 ounces, alcohol 5 quarts. Chloral mouthwash. Chloral hydrate 1 ounce, water 10 ounces. A small quantity of this, rinsed about the mouth, removes every trace of bad odour. Potassium permanganate water. Potassium permanganate 3½ ounces. Distilled water 5 quarts. Potassium permanganate easily dissolves in distilled water and forms a beautiful violet solution, a few drops of which are placed in a glass of water for use. This salt is one of the most valuable articles for the teeth. It has the property of readily giving off oxygen to organic substances, and hence immediately destroys all odour in the mouth by oxidizing the organic bodies. It also removes at once the odour of tobacco smoke. After rinsing the mouth with this solution, it is well to use some peppermint water for polishing the teeth. This mouthwash leaves brown stains on linen and other materials, as well as on the skin. Such spots can only be removed with acids, hydrochloric, oxalic, etc. Salicylated tooth tincture. Salicylic acid 1 3/4 ounces. Orange flower water 30 grains. Water 2 quarts. Alcohol 1 quart. Oil of peppermint 30 grains. Salicylic acid is a substance possessing strong antiseptic properties. Therefore, when this mouthwash is used after meals, the occurrence of any bad odour, even in persons with defective teeth, is prevented, and the progress of caries is arrested, so that the acid may be considered one of the most valuable substances in hygienic perfumery. Dissolve the salicylic acid in the warm alcohol mixed with water. Add to the still warm solution the orange flower water and the oil of peppermint dissolved in some of the alcohol. Eau de salvia. Oil of lemon 3/4 ounce. Oil of sage 1 3/4 ounces. Alcohol 1 quart. Water 4 quarts. The essential oils are dissolved in the alcohol and this solution mixed with the water. Eau de violette. Tincture of orris root 1 quart. Rosewater triple 1 quart. Alcohol 1 quart. Oil of bitter almond 75 grains. Oil of neroli 30 grains. End of section 26.
Section 27 of Perfumes and Their Preparation. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recording by Annie Rue. Perfumes and Their Preparation by George William Askinson. Cosmetic Perfumery. Chapter 25. Cosmetic Perfumery. In cosmetic perfumery, use is made chiefly of articles which serve to beautify some parts of the body by artificial means, for instance, to impart to pale cheeks a youthful freshness, or to restore to prematurely gray hair its original appearance. In so far as the former object is attained also by the preparations discussed in chapters 21, 22, 23, and 24, they likewise belong to the domain of cosmetic perfumery, for health and beauty are inseparably connected. Though we have separated hygienic from cosmetic perfumery, we have done so only in order to draw the line between preparations whose regular use really improves the bodily health and those which temporarily cover a defect of certain parts of the body. Cosmetics may also be divided into several groups: those for beautifying the skin, as paints and toilet powders, and those for the care of the hair. The latter are subdivided into hair washes, hair dyes, so-called hair tonics, depilatories, and preparations for dressing the hair, i.e., for making it glossy and fixing it. End of section 27.
Section 28 of Perfumes and Their Preparation. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Read by Michelle Fry, Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Perfumes and Their Preparation by George William Askinson. Chapter 26. Skin cosmetics and face lotions. The use of skin cosmetics and paints is of remote antiquity, but varies in different nations according to their civilization and their sense of beauty. While among certain Oriental nations, dark blue rings around the eyes with yellow lips and nails pass for beautiful, the European prizes only a white skin with a delicate tinge of red. Italian ladies in the Middle Ages used the dark red juice of the fruit of the deadly nightshade as a paint, hence the name belladonna, i.e., beautiful lady. According to Michaelides, the name herba belladonna arose from the fact that Italian ladies used a distilled water of the plant as a cosmetic. Owing to its marked effect on the eyes, by dilating the pupil and increasing the luster, this juice also heightens the brilliancy of the eye, though at the expense of its health. While in the last century face painting was a universal fashion, it is nowadays resorted to only by persons whose skin requires some artificial help. But nobody desires that the cosmetic should be perceptible on the skin. Hence it must be laid down as a rule that paints and all cosmetics should be so compounded that it is not easily possible to the observer to recognize that some artificial means has been employed for beautifying the skin. We give below a number of such articles, which come as near as possible to this ideal without injuring the skin. As every skin cosmetic cannot but occlude the pores of the skin, it should be removed as soon as possible, an advice to be heeded particularly by actors and actresses who must appear painted on the boards. A. White skin cosmetics. French white, blanc français. Talcum, 4 pounds. Oil of lemon, 75 grains. Oil of bergamot, 75 grains. The talcum must be reduced to the finest powder, levigated, dried, and then perfumed. Owing to its unctuous nature, it readily adheres to the skin, and as it has no effect on it and does not change color, it is the best of all powders. Liquid bismuth white, pearl white, blanc pearl liquide. Subnitrate of bismuth, 1 pound. Rose water, 1 quart. Orange flower, 1 quart. When standing at rest, the subnitrate of bismuth sinks to the bottom, while the supernatant fluid becomes quite clear. The bottle must therefore be vigorously shaken immediately before use. When this preparation remains on the skin for some length of time, it loses its pure white color and becomes yellow or darker through the gradual formation of a black sulfur compound. Venetian chalk, craie vénitienne, is made exactly like the French white above. The only difference between the two preparations is that the talcum for the latter is brought to a red heat, which, however, causes it in part to lose the power of adhering to the skin. B. Red skin cosmetics, rouges. Rouge végétal rose liquide. Ammonia water, 2 ounces. Carmine, 1 1/4 ounce. Essence of rose, triple, 2 1/2 ounces. Rose water, 2 quarts. This superior preparation, which serves mainly for coloring the lips, is made as follows. Reduce the carmine to powder, macerate it in the ammonia in a 3 or 4 pint bottle for several days, add the other ingredients, and let it stand for a week under oft-repeated agitation. At the end of that time the bottle is left undisturbed until the contents have become quite clear, when they are carefully decanted and filled into bottles for sale. In order to obtain this preparation in proper form, only the finest carmine should be used. That known in the market as No. 40 is the best. This alone will produce a cosmetic that, when brought in contact with the skin, will give it a vivid red color. In place of carmine, which requires the presence of ammonia if it is to remain in solution, the aniline color known as eosine may be used. Of this, very minute amounts will be sufficient to impart the proper tint. It is impracticable to give exact proportions, as these must be determined in each case by experiment. It is necessary to avoid an excess. The tint of a liquid colored by eosine may not appear deep, and yet when it is applied to the skin, a decidedly deeper stain than was desired may be produced. Hence, each addition of fresh coloring matter must be carefully controlled by a practical test. Rouge en Fuel. Cut from thick, highly calendared paper, circular discs about 2 1/2 inches in diameter, and cover them with a layer of carmine containing just enough gum acacia to make it adhere to the paper. For use, the leaf is breathed on, a pledgelet of fine cotton is rubbed over it, and the adhering color is transferred to the skin. Rouge en pâté. Carmine 1 ounce, talcum 21 ounces, gum acacia 1 3/4 ounce. The ingredients in finest powder are mixed in a mortar by prolonged trituration, then water is added in small portions to form a doughy mass to be filled into shallow porcelain dishes about the diameter of a dollar. If the rouge is desired darker for the use of actors and dark-complexioned persons, the proportion of carmine should be increased. Rouge en tasse. Carthamin 1 ounce, talcum powder 1 pound, gum acacia 1 1/2 ounce, oil of rose 15 grains. This rouge, when dry, has a greenish metallic luster. It is prepared and sold like rouge en pâté. Beau végétal pour les viands. Venetian chalk 1 pound, Berlin blue 1 3/4 ounce, gum acacia 1 ounce. To the powdered solids add sufficient water to form a mass to be rolled into sticks. For use, a pencil is breathed on, rubbed against the rough side of a piece of white glove leather, and the veins are marked with the adhering color on the skin coated with pearl white. Of course, some dexterity is required to make the veins appear natural by the use of this blue color. Rouge alozane, alozane red, murexide paint. Cold cream 1 pound, alloxan 75 grains. Dissolve the alloxan in a little water and mix it intimately with any desired cold cream. The mixture is white, but when transferred to the skin, gradually becomes red. The preparation sold in Austria, etc., under the name of Schnuda, is identical with this alloxan paint. C. Face lotions. The skin often contains spots with marked color which are more or less unsightly, for instance, freckles, liver spots, mother's marks, navy, etc. Unfortunately, we know of no remedy which radically removes them. Even chemical preparations with the most energetic efforts, which of course must never be employed owing to their destructive action on the skin, cannot entirely do away with these dark marks, which have their seat in the lower layers of the skin. But the public demands preparations for the removal of freckles, liver spots, etc., and obtains them. We subjoin the formulas for several such secret remedies, but declare emphatically that none of them will completely effect the desired results. Freckle milk, lait antiphallique. Camphor 1 3/4 ounce, ammonium chloride 3/4 ounce, corrosive sublimate 150 grains, albumin 3 1/2 ounce, rose water 2 pounds. We call attention to the fact that the sublimate, bichloride of mercury, is very poisonous and must be used with the greatest care. Freckle lotion. Angelica root 1 3/4 ounce, black hellebore root 1 3/4 ounce, storax 3/4 ounce, oil of bergamot 150 grains, oil of citron 150 grains, alcohol 2 quarts. Macerate for a week and filter. Eau lenticuleuse. Potassium carbonate 7 ounces, sugar 3/4 ounce, orange flower water 2 quarts, alcohol 7 ounces. Lyonnaise 1. Potassium carbonate 14 ounces, water 4 pounds, rose water 14 ounces, alcohol 7 ounces, oil of rose 150 grains, oil of cinnamon 75 grains. Lyonnaise 2. Rose water 2 quarts, orange flower water 1 quart, glycerin 1 pound, potassium carbonate 3 1/2 ounces, tincture of benzoin 3/4 to 1 3/4 ounces. Add only enough of the alcoholic tincture of benzoin to render the liquid slightly opalescent or milky. Lotion for chapped skin. Glycerin 4 pounds, water 1 quart, rose water 1 quart. Color pale red with cochineal. Eau de pearls. White soap 1 pound, dissolved in water 4 quarts, glycerin 2 pounds. Add rose water 1 quart, tincture of musk 150 grains. To be colored bluish with some indigo carmine. Chance de Venus. Alcoholic soap solution 2 quarts, carbonate of potassium 3 1/2 ounces, extract of orange water 3 1/2 ounces. The soap solution is made as concentrated as possible and the entire fluid colored with cochineal. In place of the extract of orange flower, other essences or extracts may also be employed. For use, some of the liquid is poured into the wash water. Poulcherine. Carbonate of potassium 14 ounces, water 4 pounds, orange flower water 2 pounds, alcohol 3 1/2 ounces, oil of neroli 150 grains, tincture of vanilla 3/4 ounce. The preceding preparations owe their activity merely to the presence of carbonate of potassium, which forms an emulsion with the fat of the skin and thus resembles in its effects a mild soap. The other ingredients only serve to render the composition fragrant. D. Toilet powders. Toilet powders are used to impart whiteness and smoothness to the skin, hence they are merely a kind of dry cosmetic, which are applied by means of a powder puff or a hare's foot. Their main ingredients are starch and talcum powders, perfumed and sometimes tinted a rose-red color. It is immaterial what kind of starch is used. Rice, wheat, and potato starch are equally effective, provided they are clear white and in the finest powder. In some cases, the bitter almond bran remaining after the expression of the fixed oil and the preparation of the oil of bitter almond is likewise used for toilet powders. The more thoroughly these powders are rubbed into the skin, the whiter the latter becomes, and the less easily can they be detected. White toilet powder. Fine levigated zinc white, 1 3/4 ounce. Venetian talcum, 1 3/4 ounce. Carbonate of magnesia, 1 3/4 ounce. Oil of rose, 20 drops. Oil of orris, 20 drops. Mix intimately. Pink toilet powder. White toilet powder, see above, 5 1/2 ounces. Carmine, 8 grains. Poudre de pistache. Pistachio meal, 10 pounds. Talcum, 10 pounds. Oil of lavender, 3/4 ounce. Oil of rose, 1/2 ounce. Oil of cinnamon, 75 grains. The oil must have been completely extracted from the pistachio meal, which is to be reduced to the finest powder. Poudre à la rose. Starch powder, 20 pounds. Carmine, 3/4 ounce. Oil of rose, 1/2 ounce. Oil of santal, 1/2 ounce. Oil of vetiver, 150 grains. Poudre à la violette. Starch powder, 20 pounds. Orris root in fine powder, 10 pounds. Oil of bergamot, 3/4 ounce. Oil of lemon, 3/4 ounce. Oil of clove, 150 grains. Oil of neroli, 150 grains. Poudre blanche sur fine, poudre de riz. Starch powder, 20 pounds. Subnitrate of bismuth, 2 pounds. Oil of lemon, 3/4 ounce. Oil of rose, 150 grains. Blanc de perle sec, dry pearl white. Venetian chalk, 20 pounds. Subnitrate of bismuth, 42 ounces. Zinc white, 42 ounces. Oil of lemon, 1 1/2 ounce. Anti-odorin. Starch powder, 1 pound. Salicylic acid, 150 grains. This mixture, which is best left unperfumed, does excellent service when used to prevent an offensive odor in stockings or shoes. The inside of the stockings is dusted with the powder, and every week a teaspoonful is sprinkled into the shoes. Skin gloss. Carbonate of potassium, 1 3/4 ounce. powdered spermaceti, 1 3/4 ounce, starch powder, 1 pound, benzoin, 3/4 ounce, oil of bitter almond, 150 grains. Mix intimately and preserve in well-closed boxes. For use, stir some into water. Caloderm, wheat flour, 4 pounds, almond bran, 1 pound, orris root in fine powder, 1 pound, extract of rose, 1 pint, glycerin, 6 fluid ounces. Form into a dough, which is thinned with water and painted on the skin. Musk paste for washing the hands. Powdered white soap, 2 pounds, orris root in fine powder, 1 pound, starch powder, 1 1/2 ounce, oil of lemon, 3/4 ounce, oil of neroli, 150 grains, tincture of musk, 1 1/2 fluid ounces, glycerin, 12 fluid ounces. Rub the starch with the glycerin in a mortar until they are thoroughly mixed. Then transfer the mixture to a porcelain capsule and apply a heat gradually raised to 284 degrees Fahrenheit and not exceeding 290 degrees Fahrenheit, stirring constantly until the starch granules are completely dissolved and a translucent jelly is formed. Then gradually incorporate with it the powdered soap and orris root, and lastly the oils and tincture. This ends section 28. Skin cosmetics and face lotions. Section 29 of Perfumes and Their Preparation. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Read by Michelle Fry, Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Perfumes and Their Preparation by George William Askinson. Chapter 17, Hair Cosmetics. The number of preparations used for the care of the hair and beard is considerable. Unfortunately, we are forced to admit that the majority of them, especially those said to strengthen the scalp and to stimulate the growth of the hair, are utterly inert. Thus far, we know too little of the natural conditions of growth of the hair to enable us to compound remedies which would actively aid the efforts of nature in this direction. In like manner, we cannot speak with approval of the preparations used to color the hair, either from the chemico-sanitary or from the aesthetic standpoint. Many of them contain substances which positively injure the hair or impart to it an unnatural color which is detected at first sight. But a well-made cosmetic should never produce this effect, and nature must be faithfully imitated if the preparation is to deserve the name of a cosmetic. With the so-called hair and beard elixirs, almost incredible swindles are perpetrated. The practical perfumer, however, cannot advise against the use of such worthless preparations among his goods, as they are in daily demand. This is the reason why we furnish the formulas for some of these secret preparations. Anybody at all familiar with the principles of chemistry and physiology will recognize their worthlessness from their composition. The only articles of practical value are those intended for cleansing the hair, for making it soft and glossy, some of the hair dyes, and the preparations for fixing the hair in certain positions. A. Hair washes. Eau d'Athènes. Carbonate of potassium, 2 1/2 ounce, sassafras wood, 8 ounces, rose water, 4 quarts, orange flower water, 4 quarts, alcohol, 1 quart. Macerate the ingredients for 1 month. The carbonate of potassium and the alcohol cleanse the hair and remove the fat. After using this wash and drying the hair, its fat and gloss should be restored by the application of a good pomade or hair oil. Eau glycerine, eau cantharides. Ammonia water, 3 1/2 ounce. Tincture of cantharides, see below, 3 1/2 ounce. Rosemary water, 8 quarts. Glycerin, 10 1/2 ounce. Oil of rose, 3/4 ounce. The tincture of cantharides is made by macerating 1 3/4 ounce of powdered Spanish flies, Lyta vesicatora, in 1 quart of strong alcohol. The caustic ammonia has a similar cleansing effect, as the carbonate of potassium. The glycerin makes the hair soft. The entire preparation is a happy combination, as it cleanses and softens the hair at the same time. Eau des fleurs, extrait végétal. Extract of cassie, 7 ounces. Extract of jasmine, 7 ounces. Extract of orange flower, 7 ounces. Tincture of tonka, 3 1/2 ounce. Extract of tube rose, 7 ounces. Tincture of vanilla, 3 1/2 ounces. Rose water, 2 quarts. Alcohol, 2 quarts. Eau de laurier. Carbonate of ammonia, 5 1/2 ounces. Borax, 5 1/2 ounces. Carbonate of ammonia, 5 1/2 ounces. Borax, 5 1/2 ounces. Oil of sweet bay, 1/2 ounce. Oil of rose, 75 grains. Rose water, 5 quarts. Eau de romarin. Carbonate of potassium, 1 3/4 ounce, 4 quarts. Essence of rose, triple, 1 quart. Eau saponique. Rose water, 5 quarts. Rondelletia perfume, 10 1/2 ounces. Saffron, 75 grains. Soap, 1 ounce. Alcohol, 10 1/2 ounces. Boil the finely divided soap and the saffron with some distilled water until the soap is completely dissolved. Add the other ingredients, mix intimately, and let stand for some days to allow the coarser particles of saffron to settle. This preparation has a particularly handsome appearance. In cut glass bottles it shows a peculiar opalescence or iridescence. In transmitted light it represents an almost perfectly transparent saffron yellow liquid. Eau Victoria. Ammonia water, 1 ounce. Expressed oil of almond, 1 ounce. Oil of mace, 75 grains. Oil of nutmeg, 75 grains. Essence of rosemary, 21 ounces. Rose water, 4 pounds. Mix the ingredients, except the rose water, by vigorous agitation until a kind of emulsion results. Then add the rose water in small portions, shaking after each addition. Eau de roses. Rose water, 5 quarts. Oil of rose, 75 grains. Dissolve in alcohol, 3 1/2 ounces. And add tincture of vanilla, 1 3/4 ounce. Tincture of civet, 150 grains. B. Hair tonics. Hair restorer. Tincture of cantharides, see above, page 281, 1 3/4 ounce. Tincture of nut galls, 1 3/4 ounce. Extract of musk, 150 grains. Carmine, 75 grains. Alcohol, 3 1/2 ounces. Rose water, 1 quart. Tincture of nut galls is made by macerating 3 1/2 ounces of powdered nut galls in 1 quart of alcohol. The tincture of cinchona in the following formulas is prepared in the same manner. Tannoquinine, hair restorer. Tincture of cinchona, 1 3/4 ounce. Tincture of nut galls, 1 3/4 ounce. Carmine, 150 grains. Oil of neroli, 75 grains. Oil of nutmeg, 75 grains. Alcohol, 3 1/2 ounces. Rose water, 1 quart. Orange flower water, 1 quart. Baume de Milan pour les cheveux. Lard, 1 pound. Expressed oil of almond, 1 pound. Spermaceti, 1 3/4 ounce. Carmine, 150 grains. Tincture of cantharides, 3/4 ounce. Tincture of storax, 1 ounce. Tincture of tolu, 1 ounce. Beard producer. Lard, 1 pound. Expressed oil of almond, 1 pound. Spermaceti, 3/4 ounce. Cantharides, 3/4 ounce. Carmine, 150 grains. Oil of bergamot, 75 grains. Oil of lavender, 75 grains. Oil of santal, 75 grains. Rub the cantharides with the carmine to the finest possible powder. Add this with the essential oils to the other ingredients. Formulas for similar hair tonics might be given to the number of several hundreds, but we repeat what we have said above. They do not produce the desired result. While the well-known bay rum is used more as a face lotion or refreshing skin tonic, particularly after shaving or when perspiring in hot weather, yet it is often also used as a wash for the scalp and is popularly believed to stimulate the growth of hair, which is in reality not the case. We shall therefore give a formula for its preparation here. Bay rum. Oil of bay from Myrcia acris, 240 grains. Oil of orange, bigarade, 16 grains. Oil of pimenta, 16 grains. Alcohol, 1 quart. Water, 25 fluid ounces. Dissolve the oils in the alcohol and add the water. Mix the liquid with about 2 ounces of precipitated phosphate of lime and filter. It will improve by age. Genuine bay rum is imported from the West Indies, St. Thomas, etc., where a crude kind of alcohol, obtained in connection with the manufacture of rum from molasses, is distilled with the fresh leaves of the bay tree, Myrcia acris. The oil of bay obtained from this must not be confounded with the oil of sweet bay. The latter, as it appears in commerce, is a crude mixture of a fixed with a volatile oil. This ends section 29. Hair cosmetics.
Section 30 of Perfumes and Their Preparation. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recording by April Walters, aprilwalters.com. Perfumes and Their Preparation by George William Askinson. Chapter 28. Hair Dyes and Depilatories. The custom of dyeing the hair is universal in the Orient. In the Occident, however, hair dyes are also frequently used, namely to hide the grayness of the hair, sometimes to give the hair a preferred color. Hair dyes, which are very numerous, may be divided into groups: those containing the dye stuff ready formed, and those in which it is produced in the hair by some chemical process. Some hair dyes contain substances which, in their nature, are decidedly injurious to the hair. Such articles, of course, must be dispensed with because, if frequently employed, they would certainly lead to baldness. We shall return to this subject in connection with the several preparations. Regarding the use of hair dyes, especially those consisting of 2 separate portions, we may state that it is necessary to remove the fat from the hair before applying the dye, as the chemicals in question do not adhere well to fat. The hair should be thoroughly washed once or twice with soap and dyed when nearly dry. When dyeing the hair, the preparations should first be diluted. If the color is not deep enough, the process is repeated. If the preparation is used at once in a concentrated form, a color may result which has no resemblance to any natural tint. Hair meant to be black may assume a metallic bluish-black gloss. A. Simple hair dyes. Lead hair dye. Oxide of lead, 4 pounds. Quicklime, 1 pound. Calcined magnesia, 1 pound. The ingredients are rubbed to a very fine powder, and for use are mixed with water, applied to the hair, and left there until the desired tint, light brown to black, is obtained, from 4 to 12 hours, when the powder is removed by washing. The lime, by its caustic effect, acts destructively on the horny substance of the hair. Moreover, all lead preparations, without exception, are very injurious to the organism. Hence, this hair dye is to be rejected, especially as there are harmless preparations which produce the same effect. Karsi, Tinta Orientale. Ambergris, 75 grains. Nut galls, 4 pounds. Iron filings, 1 3/4 ounces. Copper filings, 30 grains. Musk, 30 grains. This preparation, which really comes from the Orient, is made as follows. Reduce the nut galls to a very fine powder and roast them in an iron pan under continual stirring, until they have become dark brown or almost black. This powder is triturated with the metals in fine powder and the aromatics, and preserved in a moist place. For use, some of the powder is moistened in the palm of the hand and vigorously rubbed into the hair. After a few days, it assumes a deep black natural color. The roasting changes the tannin bodies contained in the galls into gallic and pyrogallic acids, which form deep black combinations with the metals, and themselves are easily transformed into brownish-black substances. Coelho, tincture chinoise. Gum arabic, 1 ounce. India ink, 1 3/4 ounces. Rose water, 1 quart. Powder the ink and the gum, and triturate small quantities of the powder with rose water until a uniform black liquid results, which must be free from granules. This liquid is placed in a bottle and the rest of the rose water added. Coelho can be used only by persons with black hair and is employed particularly for dyeing the eyebrows. As the coloring matter of this preparation consists of carbon in a state of fine division, the dye is perfectly harmless. Vegetable dye. Silver nitrate, 2 ounces. Distilled water, 1 quart. This hair dye produces a deep black color, but cannot be recommended, as it is injurious to the hair. Its full effects appear only after the lapse of some hours. Potassium permanganate. Potassium permanganate, 5½ ounces. Distilled water, 2 quarts. Crystalline potassium permanganate is soluble in water, forming a dark violet solution. When brought in contact with an organic substance, paper, linen, skin, horn, hair, it is rapidly decolored and imparts to the substances named a brown tint due to hydrated oxide of manganese. The hair is washed, as stated above, to remove the fat, and the dilute solution applied with a soft brush. The color is produced at once, and according to the degree of dilution, this innocuous preparation can be made to give any desired color, from blonde to very dark brown. Of course, this preparation can be used for the beard as well as the hair. All the hair dyes here and elsewhere given stain the skin as well wherever they come in contact with it. Hence, care should be taken to protect the skin during their application. B. Double hair dyes. Silver hair dyes. This and similar hair dyes consist of 2 preparations, preserved in bottles 1 and 2. The latter, containing the silver solution, should be of dark amber-colored or black glass, as the silver salts are decomposed by light. It is utterly useless to employ blue glass for this purpose, as this admits the chemical rays of light as easily as flint glass. For use, some of the liquid from bottle 1 is poured into a cup and the hair is moistened with it by means of a soft brush. The liquid from bottle 2 is poured into a second cup and applied with another brush. Brown dye. 1. In white bottle, sulfide of potassium, 7 ounces. Alcohol, 1 quart. 2. In dark bottle, silver nitrate, 4½ ounces. Distilled water, 1 quart. Black dye. 1. In white bottle, sulfide of potassium, 1/2 pound. Alcohol, 1 quart. 2. In dark bottle, silver nitrate, 5½ ounces. Distilled water, 1 quart. The sulfide of potassium, liver of sulfur, appears in fragments of a liver-brown mass which readily dissolves in water. The solution must be filtered before being filled into bottles for sale, and, as it becomes turbid in the air, kept in well-closed vessels. When the 2 solutions are brought together, black sulfide of silver results and darkens the hair. After the use of this preparation, a disagreeable odor of rotten eggs adheres to the hair, but can be easily removed by washing, especially with one of the previously mentioned hair washes. The silver hair dye will be still better if the liquid contained in bottle 2 is made by dropping into the solution, under continual stirring, ammonia water, until the precipitate first formed is again dissolved. Melanogen. 1. In dark bottle, silver nitrate, 150 grains. Distilled water, 2 3/4 ounces. Ammonia water, 1 ounce. 2. In white bottle, pyrogallic acid, 15 grains. Alcohol of 40%, 1 pint. Tannin hair dye. 1. In white bottle, powdered nut galls, 14 ounces. Water, 1 pint. Rose water, 1 pint. Boil the nut galls in the water, strain the boiling liquid through a thick cloth into the rose water, and fill the still hot mixture into bottles which must be immediately closed. It is essential that the liquid be hot during the filling to guard against the development of mold. 2. In dark bottle, silver nitrate, 5½ ounces. distilled water 1 quart. Add ammonia water to the silver solution until the precipitate first formed is again dissolved. Eau d'Afrique. 1. In dark bottle, silver nitrate, 45 grains, distilled water, 3½ ounces. 2. In white bottle, sulfide of sodium, 120 grains, distilled water, 3½ ounces. Crinochrome. 1. In white bottle, pyrogallic acid, 150 grains, distilled water, 6¼ ounces, alcohol, 5¾ ounces. 2. In dark bottle, silver nitrate, 180 grains, ammonia water, 2 ounces, distilled water, 10½ ounces. Copper hair dye. 1. In white bottle, ferrocyanide of potassium, 7 ounces, distilled water, 1 quart. 2. In dark bottle, sulfate of copper, 7 ounces, distilled water, 1 quart. Add ammonia water to the copper solution until the light blue precipitate first formed again dissolves to a rich dark blue liquid. This hair dye gives a dark brown color. Eau de fontaine de jouvence, also called auricome, and golden hair water, is no dye, but a bleaching agent, which changes dark hair to a light blonde or golden yellow color. The preparation consists of peroxide of hydrogen, a substance possessing marked bleaching properties. Peroxide of hydrogen, or hydrogen dioxide, is at the present time made on a large scale by many manufacturers and readily obtainable in the market. It would therefore scarcely pay anyone to prepare it himself, unless he were out of reach of the usual channels of trade, so that he could not obtain the preparation in a fresh state. Nevertheless, it may be useful to state how it is made. Barium dioxide, or peroxide, which is a regular article of commerce, and is a stable compound which will keep for any length of time if kept in tightly closed bottles, is treated with water until the dioxide forms with it a thin, smooth milk. This is gradually added to dilute sulfuric acid, cooled with ice or kept otherwise as cold as possible, until the sulfuric acid is almost entirely neutralized. The solution is then allowed to settle and the clear liquid drawn off. For bleaching purposes, this is pure enough. Only it must be ascertained that the amount of free acid present, without which the hydrogen dioxide does not keep well, is only small. Other acids can be used besides sulfuric, but the latter is the most convenient. If an alkali is added to hydrogen dioxide so that the reaction becomes alkaline, it will decompose very rapidly. Even under the most favorable circumstances, when acid and kept in a cool place, it will gradually deteriorate and finally be entirely converted into oxygen gas, which escapes, and plain water. Peroxide, or dioxide of hydrogen, when applied to the hair as a bleaching agent, must be used in a dilute condition at first. Those who use it for the first time should always make preliminary trials with the liquid upon odd bunches of hair, such as may at any time be procured at hairdressers' shops, resembling that which is to be bleached, before actually applying it to the latter. The hair to be bleached is deprived of fat by washing with soap solution, the soap is washed out with water, and the peroxide of hydrogen applied. Whisker dye. 1. Acetate of lead, 1 3/4 ounces, distilled water, 1 pint. 2. Caustic potassa, 3/4 ounces, distilled water, 1 quart. Dissolve the acetate of lead, sugar of lead, in the warm water, filter the solution, and add ammonia water until a precipitate ceases to form. Collect the precipitate on a filter, wash it by pouring distilled water over it 8 or 10 times, and while still moist, introduce it into solution 2. Stir repeatedly, and after 12 hours leave the vessel at rest until the solution has become clear. Then decant it from the sediment, which may be treated a second time at solution 2. For use, the beard is washed with soap and combed with a fine rubber comb dipped in the solution. C. Depilatories. Combinations of sulfur with the alkaline metals calcium, barium, and strontium rapidly destroy the hair. For this reason, tanners use the gas lime from gasworks, which contains calcium sulfide, for removing the hair from hides. All the depilatories used cosmetically, even rhusma employed in the Orient for removing the beard, owe their activity to the presence of calcium sulfide. Calcium sulfide has usually been lauded as a perfectly harmless depilatory. This is a great mistake, however, since it has often done serious harm through careless application by persons unfamiliar with its caustic and corrosive effects. It is absolutely necessary to protect the skin against its action. Otherwise, superficial irritation or even destruction of the skin may result. Calcium sulfide cannot be made by the action of sulfuretted hydrogen upon lime. It is usually made by heating at a low red heat in a securely closed crucible an intimate mixture of 100 parts of finely powdered quicklime with 90 parts of precipitated sulfur. Mix together calcium sulfide 4 ounces, sugar 2 ounces, water 2 ounces, starch powder 2 ounces, oil of lemon 30 grains, oil of peppermint 10 grains. The resulting mass must be filled at once into an airtight jar, as the calcium sulfide is decomposed in the atmosphere. For use, some of the mass is moistened with water, painted on the skin, and washed off with water after 30 to 45 minutes. This and all other depilatories act only temporarily, that is, they destroy only the hair projecting above the surface without killing the hair bulbs. After some time the hair grows again, and the preparation must be reapplied. Barium sulfide, which is likewise used as a depilatory, is made by heating barium sulfate with charcoal, extracting the residue with water, and mixing the resulting product with starch paste. In its effects, barium sulfide equals the preceding preparation, but it decomposes more readily. Depilatory paste. Powdered caustic lime, 2 pounds, starch powder, 2 pounds, sodium sulfide, 21 ounces. Sodium sulfide is made by saturating strong caustic soda solution with sulfuretted hydrogen. The other ingredients are added to the solution of sodium sulfide. Rumsa is a depilatory made by mixing powdered quicklime, unslaked, with orpiment, yellow sulfide of arsenic. Take of quicklime 4 pounds, orpiment 10½ ounces. Mix intimately and preserve the powder in tightly closed vessels. For use, take some of the powder, reduce it to a thin paste with water, and apply it to the place upon which the hairs are to be destroyed. Owing to its poisonousness and the destructive effects of the caustic lime on the skin, this preparation should never be employed in cosmetic perfumery. End of section 30.
Section 31 of Perfumes and Their Preparation. This is the LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recording by Annie Rue. Perfumes and Their Preparation by George William Askinson. Chapter 29. Wax Pomades, Bandolines, and Brilliantines. The so-called wax pomades, stick pomatum, and bandolines serve to stiffen the hair and are frequently employed by hairdressers. The former two articles possess some adhesive power by which they fasten the hair together. Bandolines are mucilaginous fluids which generally contain bassarin, or vegetable mucilage present in tragacanth, quince seeds, etc. A. Wax pomades. Stick pomatum. This is usually formed into oval or round sticks which are wrapped in tin foil. They are colored and perfumed as desired. The ordinary varieties are white for light blonde hair, which is left uncolored, pink colored with carmine, brown colored with umber, and black colored with bone black. The coloring matters are always rubbed up with oil. Red pomatum may be colored with alkanet root, which is macerated for some time with the melted fat. The base of these preparations consists of lard, 4 pounds, tallow, 12 pounds, wax, 6 pounds. The mass may be made harder or softer by increasing or diminishing the wax. The perfumes generally used are oils of bergamot, lemon, clove, and thyme, with an addition of some Peru balsam. B. Beard wax. Beard wax, cire à moustache. Turpentine, 2 pounds, expressed oil of almond, 2 pounds, wax, 6 pounds, violet pomade, 2 pounds, Peru balsam, 1 pound, oil of clove, 1 ounce, oil of santal, 3/4 ounce, oil of cinnamon, 3/4 ounce. Hungarian beard wax, cire à moustache hongroise. Castile soap powdered, 3½ ounces, mucilage of acacia, 10 ounces, white wax, 9 ounces, glycerin, 3½ ounces, oil of bergamot, 20 drops, oil of lemon, 10 drops, oil of rose, 10 drops. Rub the powdered soap with the mucilage, previously diluted with 9 ounces of water. Then add the wax and glycerin, and heat the mass in a water bath, stirring constantly until it becomes homogeneous. Lastly, add the oils, and pour the mass into suitable molds. For brown or black wax, the corresponding color is added. The mass is formed into sticks the thickness of a lead pencil. C. Bandolines. Bandoline aux amandes. Tragacanth, 14 ounces, rose water, 8 quarts, oil of bitter almond, 3/4 ounce. Crush the tragacanth, place it in rose water, and leave it at rest in a warm spot, stirring occasionally until the tragacanth has swollen into a slimy mass. Press it through a coarse and then through a finer cloth. Add a little carmine and then the oil of bitter almond. Bandoline à la rose. This is made like the preceding, only substituting 1½ ounces of oil of rose for the oil of bitter almond. Other varieties may be produced by the use of different odors. D. Brilliantines. Under various names, preparations are placed in the market which render the hair both soft and glossy. The chief constituent of all these articles is glycerin, which is perfumed according to taste and stained reddish or violet. As many aniline colors easily dissolve in glycerin, they are generally used for this purpose. Formerly, before glycerin was obtainable in sufficient purity, brilliantines were chiefly made of castor oil dissolved in alcohol. But aside from the fact that glycerin is cheaper than castor oil with alcohol, the former is preferable as alcohol injures the hair. Brilliantine, glycerin, 8 pounds, extract of jasmine or other flower, 2 quarts. Oleolisse, glycerin, 4 pounds, castor oil, 4 pounds, oil of bergamot, 3/4 ounce, oil of lemon, 3/4 ounce, oil of neroli, 150 grains. End of section 31.
Chapter 32 of Perfumes and Their Preparation. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recording by Larry Wilson. Perfumes and Their Preparation by George William Askinson. The colors used in perfumery. In perfumes in which next to the odor the appearance is of importance, the colors play a prominent part. In handkerchief perfumes, any accidental color present is an obstacle, as it would cause stains on the material. Hence the aim is to obtain the perfumes colorless, or a highly prized quality in fine articles. They receive a pale green color which disappears on drying. Extract of cassie possesses this color, and in many cases this extract is added to perfumes for the purpose of giving them this favorite color. Regarding the colors employed for other articles, emulsions, pomades, soaps, etc., it may be stated as a general rule that a preparation named after a certain flower must possess the color of the latter. Hence all perfumes named after the rose should be rose red; violet perfumes, violet; those bearing the name of the lily or white rose must be colorless, etc. The best for articles containing alcohol or glycerin are the aniline colors, both on account of their beautiful appearance and their extraordinary staining power. But an insurmountable obstacle is met with in their use for articles containing animal or vegetable fats, which rapidly destroy many aniline colors. When a rose pomade is colored with aniline red, the fine delicate tint hardly lasts 3 or 4 weeks and changes into dirty gray. The same is true of aniline violet in violet pomade, etc. Therefore articles containing fat must receive other dye stuffs, and in the following pages we briefly enumerate those we have found most appropriate. But it must be observed that all poisonous dyes must be absolutely excluded. Commercial aniline colors formerly often contained arsenic. At the present time other processes are usually employed for their preparation, not involving the employment of arsenious acid. Yellow colors. Saffron. The stigmata of Crocus sativus contain a bright yellow or orange yellow coloring matter which is easily extracted by alcohol, petroleum ether, or fat. We prefer petroleum ether, in which the finely powdered saffron is macerated, the greater portion of the solvent being distilled off, and the rest of the solution is allowed to evaporate, when the pure coloring matter is left and can be easily mixed with fat. The coloring matter may be also obtained by macerating the saffron in melted lard or in olive oil. Jonquil pomade. Genuine jonquil pomade, from Narcissus jonquilla, has a handsome yellow color, which is derived from the dark yellow flowers. For this reason small quantities of jonquil pomade are sometimes used for coloring pomades for their hair. Curcuma or turmeric. Curcuma or turmeric root contains a very beautiful yellow coloring matter, which is easily extracted by alcohol or petroleum ether. We prepare it in the same manner as stated under the head of saffron. Curcuma color cannot be used for articles containing free alkali, which changes it to brown. Palm oil. Palm oil has naturally a fine yellow color, which it imparts also to soaps prepared from it, but the color fades completely when the wet soap is exposed to the air. Red colors. Carmine. This magnificent, though very expensive color is obtained from the cochineal insect Coccus cacti. If good carmine is not available, a substitute may be made for the purpose of coloring perfumery articles by powdering cochineal, treating it with a dilute caustic ammonia, and after adding some alum solution, exposing it to the air and direct sunlight, when the coloring matter separates in handsome red flakes, which are collected and dried. Carthamine red. Safflower, the blossoms of Carthamus tinctorius, contains two coloring matters, yellow and red. The former is extracted with water from the dried flowers, and the residue is treated with a weak soda solution, which dissolves the red coloring matter. When this solution is gradually diluted with acetic acid, the dye is precipitated, and after drying forms a mass with a greenish metallic luster. This, when reduced to powder, is used for rouge en fil or rouge en tasse. This coloring matter can also be prepared by introducing into the soda solution some clean white cotton on which the color is precipitated, and can then be extracted with alcohol. Alkanet. This root, which is readily obtained in the market, contains a beautiful red coloring matter, which can be extracted with petroleum ether, but is also easily soluble in fats, melted lard, or warm oil. Even small amounts of it produce a handsome rose red, and larger quantities a dark purple. For pomades, hair oils, and emulsions, alkanet root is the best coloring matter, as it stains them rapidly, is lasting, and cheap. Rhatany. Rhatany root furnishes a reddish brown coloring matter, which is soluble in alcohol, and is extracted with it from the comminuted root, especially for tooth tinctures and mouth washes. For the same purpose use may also be made of red sandalwood and Pernambuco wood, which likewise yield to alcohol, besides astringents, beautiful colors which are very suitable for such preparations. Green colors. Chlorophyll. The green coloring matter of leaves is easily extracted from them when bruised with alcohol, and is left behind after the evaporation of the solvent. Some powders which are to have a green color are mixed directly with dried and finely divided bright green leaves, such as spinach, celery, parsley leaves, etc. For soap it is customary to use a mixture of yellow and blue, which together produce a green color. Take a yellow soap, melt it, and add to it the finest powder of smalt or ultramarine until the desired tint is obtained. Indigo carmine cannot be used, as it would impart a blue color to the skin. Blue colors. For many preparations, smalt or ultramarine is employed, but these colors are insoluble. The only soluble blue colors are aniline blue and indigo carmine. The latter has a beautiful and intense color, but is suitable only for pomades and not for soaps because, as stated above, it would stain the skin. Violet. Violet is produced by a mixture of red and blue in due proportions. Brown. Brown is produced by caramel, which is made by heating sugar in an iron pot until it changes into a deep black mass which is brown only in thin threads. This color dissolves easily in water, not in alcohol, and is very suitable for soaps. Black. Black is produced by finely divided vegetable or bone black. Liquids are colored with India ink, which remains suspended for a long time owing to the fine division of the carbon. End of chapter 32. Chapter 33 of Perfumes and Their Preparation. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recording by Larry Wilson. Perfumes and Their Preparation by George William Askinson. The utensils used in the toilet. In the toilet, besides combs and hair brushes, use is made of powder puffs, toothbrushes, and bath sponges. Powder puffs are made from swan skins, but should be used rather for the even division of the powder or paint than for its application. For the latter purpose, a piece of soft glove or chamois leather is best. The commercial toothbrushes are almost without exception objectionable owing to the stiffness of the bristles. A suitable toothbrush should be made of very soft, flexible bristles, lest it wear away the enamel. Particular attention should be devoted to bath sponges. Their value is proportionate to the fineness of the pores, their softness and elasticity, and their spherical shape. Crude sponges are best cleansed by being placed in dilute hydrochloric acid, which dissolves the calcareous particles adhering to them. They are bleached as follows. Free them as far as possible from sand and other foreign matters. Then wash them thoroughly with water and press them. Next, introduce them into a solution of permanganate of potassium, containing 1 ounce of the salt in a gallon. Leave them in this liquid 2 or 3 minutes. Then take them out, express the liquid, which can be several times used over again, wash them with water until no more violet tinted liquid runs from them, and then immerse them in a solution of 1 part of hyposulphite of sodium in 20 parts of water, to which immediately before dipping the sponges 1 part of hydrochloric acid has been added. When the sponges are white, remove them and wash them thoroughly with water. After prolonged use, bath sponges lose their elasticity and softness. These properties can be restored by dipping the sponges into a mixture of 1 part by measure of glycerin and 8 parts of water, pressing out the excess of the liquid and allowing them to dry. The small quantity of glycerin which they contain prevents their hardening. End of chapter 33. End of Perfumes and Their Preparation by George William Askinson.